Hi guys, so today is the first day of spring and it's actually National Happiness Day. Who knew? So I want to tell you this year I have a word of the year and it's joy. Joy for me comes from the Lord and it's despite your situation. So even if your situation is hard, joy can be there, unlike happiness, which is a feeling. So I just thought I'd share that. Let's go ahead and create this beautiful card with this Springtime Foils Designer Series paper. To tell you I love this beautiful foil encased paper is an understatement. So let's go ahead and put that beautiful thing right there. And we're going to be using the Stampin' Blends markers, some of which are on back order at this time. So you want to make sure that you order yours as soon as possible. A lot of people are actually going on back order in order to secure theirs. We're going to start with the Old Olive collection. We will eventually go into the Pumpkin Pie collection, and we will go into the Daffodil Delight collection. Then we're going to create this really fun little Eclipse card. Super easy. I just like the little simple technique of this tucking another piece of cardstock behind it. I think that when a lot of people do Eclipse techniques, I have a hard time visualizing how that would look. So I use a separate piece of color to help break that up a little bit. And I'll show you how I do that. So we're going to go ahead and color this really simply. I'm going to start with you guys and then I'm going to speed this up so you guys will enjoy that. I like to start with a dark on this. This is a super glossy cardstock. It's free during celebration with a minimum order. You can order and see this full tutorial on my blog at gettingcrafty.net. And I have the full shopping list, that kind of thing right there waiting for you. So as you can see here, I'm going to show you just this one. Alcohol markers, much like the Stampin' Blends and the Copics, or Copic. I don't know how people have told me different ways to say it. So however you say it, it's okay with me. They are designed to blend really well. So I'm going to create, and they work best, I can't even speak today, they work best when they're wet. So once you apply one color, you want to apply the other. And here I went over it with the lights of that same color combo. I recommend ordering the color combo together. That's my personal encouragement, but you're going to do whatever you want to do. I'm not the boss of your card. That is a common statement I say. But if you want to duplicate it, that's fine too. It's just really easy to create that natural shadow, and you can keep working it if you wish to just create that second layer. So it does work differently than on regular cardstock, and I'm going to show you how I do that really quickly in this simple time sped up video. So I want to show you just a really simple little technique. This paper is cut at, the Springtime Foils is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. What I'm going to do is along this Old Olive cardstock, the same color as the blends, green, because green symbolizes spring to so many people, and yellow and orange cards just are so bright, I think. They're just encompass the beauty of it all. This is actually going to a soldier, if you guys didn't know that. One of my dear friends and a stamper, her nephew is deployed and having a really hard time while being deployed. So she asked if I would consider sending some cards to him. And since we have that soldier care program that we do, we send out hundreds of cards each month, I said, sure, why not? Now the two pieces are adhesive together. I want you to see that, but just in the corners, right? So I have access to receiving the full thing. We're going to spell out joy using the large alphabet dies, one of my favorite tools in my Stampin' Up! Die collection, because I can spell anything I want. And I know a soldier, right? Like, does he read? A boy, young man, he's not a boy. My uncle reminds me of that all the time. We're going to die cut it in my Big Shot machine. I'm using the magnetic platform just to hold them right where they need to be. And I'm going to go forward and back. You don't really need to. But our thinlit dies are thin. So I want to make sure that all the pieces stay where they're supposed to. So you can see the die cut from behind just like so. So you cannot send anything with sparkle to our military that are currently deployed. And we learned that years ago. Using a bone folder to crisp my thick Whisper White cardstock, scored at 4 1/4, cut at 5 1/2 to create this traditional landscape style card. Then what we're going to do is we're going to remove our alphabet. So I'm going to pop them out just like so. Boop. First of all, isn't that gorgeous? Could you imagine putting that on another thing here? I've got a friend who's had her first baby. She used to be a babysitter, and she's my neighbor. And her baby's name is Abigail. So I'm going to make her a beautiful little artwork using the springtime foils and Abigail's name. I think that's so much fun. So we're going to frame this. That measurement gives this 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card a nice little frame across the front. I always look for one edge. I can't focus on the whole card, so what I do is I look for an edge to see if it's relatively straight and even. If it is, even if this is off a little bit on the sides, it's still, you will not notice it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove the letters and their companion, the green one, just like that. Don't lose your dies. I've done that before. These are our mini dimensionals, and they are so fabulous. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull a mini dimensional up. Ooh, actually, we're going to put it back down. I'm going to layer my 2 pieces where I create the shadow. So I'm going to offset it just a smidge like so. Holding it together, I'm going to go just like this and apply the dimensionals across the 2 pieces in the back. Then, this is the trick. In my opinion. I'm sure there's many tricks. I am not a specialist on tricks, believe me. Though we know a musician who is, so he's a family member. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer it so that the J would go right back where the springtime foil is. But now you have this die cut that looks like the Eclipse. So I think that's a great way to hide anything that's going on. Now with the Y right here, I'm going to point out, I am literally going to place like a little dash on the center of the O, just like so. So what I'm going to do is put the Y back in so that I know that it falls in line with the die. And I'm going to push that center in. I'm going to kind of rub it in since the snail adhesive is on it. That is one of those things that I think with the Eclipse cards people struggle with, is that negative that you have there with that O or whatever lining it is. I think it really does need it, and it has to stay kind of where it should be, right? So here's our beautiful, and I don't need it dimensional, so I'm really going to just focus on the die cut letters. And it has to kind of follow in suit. You don't want to have your O's shift. It's an eclipse, so everything should kind of follow in line the same way. So I'm going to grab a couple of the miniature dimensionals just like this. I love them so much. Being that this is free until March 31st, 2018, this designer series paper is so gorgeous and must have for your collection. We just created with our Facebook Live using this. So I'm looking to line up my circle with where it should have been, trying to overlook the O in the dark green so that I'm not struggling with that. Boop, J, O, and then we're going to do our Y. Super easy, but it's dynamic. I love how easy it is. This paper collection is so fabulous. We used it last night in our lives on my Facebook.com, and I would send these totally to this kid, except this young man, not this kid, this young man makes me feel old, but it's got sparkle. So when you have sparkle, you can't send it to military. So what we're going to do is we're going to Eclipse and we're going to drop it down just like we did with the others. Turn it over, and using the miniature dimensionals, apply it just like so. And I think on this part, because you have that split right there with the end of the Y, I'm going to do a 3rd dimensional. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, my friends. Easy peasy. Then we're going to take and line up that so that it all falls in line with where it would normally go. And if you're off a smidge, nobody's going to know. So look, this is your simple Eclipse card, but it's so dynamic. Now, if you're not sending it to the military, what you can do, because I'm going to send the other one, is you can take our clear wink of Stella, and I like to think that it adds a second layer of just awesome sparkle. And this will be more for, maybe I'll give this to little baby Abigail, because it's their new joy. She was overdue, and the sweet mom, it was her first baby, and long expected, beautiful little girl is going to have the best mother. I am so proud of Michaela. But, so just add sparkle, and this one I have to make sure I set aside for little baby Abigail and Michaela and the daddy. They're very excited. With my daughter pregnant with our first grandbaby, I'm excited too. It is fun to look forward to that next generation that you can spoil, but you don't have to change all of the diapers, and you don't have to stay up late at night or nurse or be tired or gain the weight of pregnancy, though I don't know about that last bit. Don't sympathy eat, whatever you do, right? Okay, so when you add the clear wink of Stella, especially to the dimensionals, or to the blends, you can see just how fabulous that picks up. Actually, it looks better without the light, so watch this. And you can see the sparkle so much better. It's very subtle, and since I can't send this to the military, my word of the year is joy, and I hope that this brings you just a little bit on the first day of spring, a little bit of joy for you. Thanks for visiting. Check this out on my blog at gettingcrafty.net and see the full tutorial there. Thanks for joining. Have a great one. Bye.